Welcome once again to In the Hot Seat with Deborah, Fennella and
Tom Bryant. Hello.
Hi, wherever you are in the world. We're really excited to be back in the hot seat here live in the studio in Dorset. Now, we've got a fantastic show ahead of us today for all of you viewers. And we're going to be interviewing some amazing guests today, including Len Gibson and James Brown. They're both founders of Peachtree Village International Film Festival, and also two amazing script writers. And they're going to be talking about their latest scripts, action scripts. So really excited, aren't we?
Packed show. So
we have.
No further ado.
We've got 4 guests on the show today. Yeah. So it's going to be a busy night tonight, isn't it? But we're really excited and really blessed. And we can't wait to hear more about these action screens.
That's it.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Here they all come.
Hi, welcome to In the Hot Seat with Deborah, Fennella and Tom Bryant. Now, really blessed to have Len Gibson and James Brown, both founders of PVIFF, which is Peachtree Village International Film Festival, and it is actually going to start on the 21st to the 23rd of October. And also we have Gloria Brown talking about script Sergeant Freeman, and Ruth Murray talking about No Biscuits in Heaven. So welcome to all of you. We're really excited to talk about your screenplays. Welcome to In the Hot Seat. So how are you all this evening? Are you all okay?
Doing well, blessed.
Doing great.
Now, first of all, Len, I know you've both been very, very busy, haven't you? Both you and James. So please tell our viewers a little bit about PVIFF and what inspired both you and James to start it up in the first place, please.
Wow. Yes, it's been busy. But, we're good busy, right? But we're going into our 16th year. And really, the festival was started right here in Atlanta. Just saw a lack of festivals that was also entertaining as well as educational. We saw a void in the marketplace where we wanted to offer filmmakers not only an opportunity to screen their films and screenwriters an opportunity to show their work and meet people, meet investors, meet distributors, meet other producers, but also to learn where they can go back and better their craft. And 16 years ago when we started, it was really the same time that Tyler Perry did his first film in Atlanta, and Rainforest Films were doing their early films. And it was just a really good time, for Atlanta filmmaking. And JB and I, when we started the festival, we just wanted to be a part of everything that was happening here in the city and to try to give opportunities to filmmakers around the world.
Which is an amazing opportunity. I mean, I'm an actress myself, so I've been on film set many a time. So I was really excited to, interview you all because I've done panto and I've been in the TV sort of like production industry since 1977. So showing my age a little bit now. So it's really excited to actually interview you and talk about the film festivals and the process that people have to go through when they're actually writing these screenplays. And I think you've both done amazing work together. So how did you and James first meet? How did you sort of get together and then sort of come up with the idea and sort of said, yes, let's start this Peachtree Village International Film Festival? James, please.
Maybe you want to tackle that one?
I got it. We met.
I love it.
It was weird. It was kind of weird. We met at a venue in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in the music industry, coming from working marketing with Def Jam Records, Island Def Jam Records, and some other stuff that I did. And I was doing some soundtracks for some films. And yes. I was exiting the marketing side of the music industry. And a buddy of mine told me that the natural progression for music is film. And I said, oh, okay. So I did some soundtrack work back in the 90s. And I was still doing some stuff with the company Len mentioned, Rainforest Films, marketing and soundtrack. And he asked me one day, he said, we were in a club. He said, are you in the entertainment industry? I said, yeah. And he was like, okay, I'm interested in doing some work in film. And I think we gave each other some love, like dapped it up and said, all right, well, we'll see each other around. I think I gave him a card or something. And then not long after, I was on an elevator in my building, which is his building, but the building is huge, so we had different corridors. I got on the elevator one day on his side of the building, and it was him and his fiance, and I had a box of fresh Church's fried chicken, right? It was smelling good. So he's like, his fiance was like, oh, that's some good chicken. I want some of that chicken. And I'm like, nah, you can't have that.
Did you share it?
Did you give her any?
Did you give us some chicken?
It's only 3 pieces, Dad. No, Dad, it was only 3 pieces. No. So what I did was I pushed the number 3 button on the elevator, and he said, oh, we're going to 3 too. And then we looked at each other, and we were like, yo, didn't we just talk the other day? And it was beautiful. And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And he said, I live in this building. I said, I live in this building. He said, I live on this floor. I said, I live on this floor. And all of a sudden, he was like, hey, man, let's chop it up. And he came by my house, and we talked about, he had a vision to do a film festival. And my vision was to go deeper into film. And it just happened like that.
I mean, do you both believe in like fate and synchronicity and the law of attraction? I mean, I do. And I do think life is very much fated.
Look at all my beads. I can cocktail.
Yes.
Kismet, happy accident, that's what they call it.
But it's, it's like fate guided the two of you together to start this amazing film festival and giving so many people the opportunity, to share their amazing work and give them that platform. And I think it's just fantastic. So do you actually sing as well?
I'm sorry?
Do you actually sing as well, James? Do you?
No, I used to rap.
Oh, you used to rap,
did you?
Oh,
I was a rapper.
Oh, what sort of songs did you rap? I mean, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm also I can do opera and contemporary as well. So, what sort of songs do you sort of like rap about? All about sort of social conscious music and about changing the world?
Yes, exactly. That one of the records made was called Khadijah. It was on a soundtrack, a Wesley Snipes movie soundtrack called Sugar Hill, and it was more about conscious efforts to make some changes in the community for the better. And it was called Khadijah. So you look it up one day if you want to.
Oh wow, maybe you could come on our other show, Music for Global Change, with Skylar Jett.
There you go.
Talking about it as well, which would be fantastic.
Yeah.
We'd love that. Wouldn't we? So it's really exciting. Now we've also got 2 other guests that we would love to ask a couple of questions as well. And I know that Tom is really excited to ask Gloria a few questions, aren't you?
Questions for you, Gloria. So your screenplay, what's it about? Briefly, can you tell us what's the concept behind it?
Well, the log line is, what would you do to save your daughter? Sergeant Stella Freeman is an African-American mother, single mother, whose daughter goes missing. And she's trying to find her daughter. At the same time, she's taking on this high-level job, leading a platoon of these infighting young soldiers. And she finds that her daughter is being held by domestic terrorists in Pennsylvania. And she has to use everything she has to get her daughter alive.
Wow, that's some concept.
So it certainly is.
Genre-wise, you'd say this was action
drama,
action movie, or what sort of movie would it be? Action drama, okay. And it's not. I use the term movie there. It's not been made into a movie. Is that right? At the minute, it's just a screenplay. Is that right?
It's a screenplay, but that's why this is so fantastic that it was in this festival, because a lot of the film festivals, not all of them, but so many of them, like Peachtree, have screenplay contests as well. So I have 2 short films that are in film festivals, but this is a screenplay that's in a film festival in a competition as well.
Which is brilliant, yeah. So that's what you'll be looking for, someone to make it into a movie then, no doubt.
Yes.
Definitely. And I just think these 2 gentlemen are giving screenwriters like myself opportunities to get our screenplays out in front of the public so that producers can see them and then look at it and find that it's valuable and worth the investment to actually get the film done. And so that's why I'm just so excited to be here and meeting them. And the fact they're giving these opportunities to people like me, writers like me.
Oh, it's really exciting. I would like to ask you actually, Gloria, what was your inspiration behind actually writing that screenplay? What sort of guided you down that path to write that particular story, please?
two major things. One, I'm also a civil rights attorney. And during my time as a civil rights attorney, I was practicing civil rights full time in Georgia and Alabama. And in Alabama, there's a nonprofit organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center. And while I was working there, I saw that they had a whole map on the wall of white supremacist organizations. And people don't know. They think that everything is in the South. The South gets blamed for everything. They don't know that there are these organizations in the North too. And there were a lot of them in Pennsylvania. And they have places called Sundown Towns. And these Sundown Towns are places, now I'm telling all the information now. So the Sundown Towns in America are towns controlled by white racists. And if you're a person of color and you get caught in this town after sundown, you could be beaten up or killed. And so
really, that's awful.
Yes, and this is still happening today. Yes, these sundown towns still exist today. These white supremacist domestic terrorist organizations still exist today. And they're in the North, and they're growing in the North. And a lot of people are looking at the South. So when I saw this, I said, I have military people in my family going back generations, all the way back from the Civil War forward. And then I also thought, well, what about a single mother in the military? People aren't thinking about a single mother. So when I brought these concepts together, and I was thinking, we need to expose the fact that we have these white supremacist domestic terrorist organizations in the North, but also how these single mothers would fight for their daughter if their daughter was kidnapped. So I put these concepts together, and that's how I came up with the Sergeant Freeman log line, as well as the whole concept for the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very poignant storyline as well, like you say, because it's all about bringing positive change, and things do need to change, don't they, across the globe, I think, and also stop all racism as well, because we are one at the end of the day, and peace is the answer. So I want to commend you on your efforts, and thank you for everything that you do, to bring that positive change to this world and keep shining bright. Yeah. But I'd also love to know what actually happens, in the middle and the end of the storyline, please.
I need to know now.
Yes. Well, when she finds out finally, because no one will help her, they think her daughter ran away because Sergeant Freeman and her daughter Keisha had an argument right before this happened. So they thought, oh, she just ran off to college because she was going to college anyway, mad at her mother because her mother was spending so much time at work. And so now so Sergeant Freeman goes to the town following these clues and finds out that the head of the domestic terrorist organization is the sheriff of the town. So she's giving this information to the sheriff, and this is the person holding her daughter. And he wants to start this race war. So he's actually been buying arms and hoarding them in the town. But here's what's going on with these towns. These towns are like economically deprived towns that have been taken over. So the townspeople also want to rise up. And so what we have in the end, and I can't tell you the very end. Should I tell them the very end, James? Should I tell them the end? I should? Okay.
What do you think, Len and James? Can we please?
Okay. So when she finally finds out where they're located, and she has a shootout by herself, and she realizes she can't do this by herself. And so she gets her young platoon. She's been training and they've been loafing off, but now they know that this is for real. And so she leads her platoon in, and there's a giant fight between the paramilitary troops and her troops, and they battle back and forth. She finds her daughter, but at the end, they have to have a hand-to-hand combat between the head of the paramilitary and Sergeant Freeman. And so that's how it ends. She wins the hand-to-hand.
So justice was done in the end.
Yes.
Wow. And how long were you working on it, Gloria? Was it a long process to write the screenplay? Was it something you've been working on a while?
I had been working on it a while, because what really got me, I would say, this is about Pennsylvania and these domestic terrorist organizations in Pennsylvania. And everyone would say, oh, they're not in Pennsylvania. Make it in the South, make it Georgia, make it Alabama. And that defeats the whole purpose, because part of what I wanted to say was you need to watch and be aware of the growing hate groups that are taking place in the North. And so it took a long time for people to just say, forget it, until what happened in the last time under Donald Trump's regime. We saw these organizations growing and getting bolder and bolder. And then people started taking my screenplay seriously. And so that's when, and people like James and Lynn, you know, and others like have given me the opportunity to put it in competition so that they can read it. And I took screenplay classes just to make it better and better. And I continue to take classes. I took about maybe almost 10 classes over the years to refine it so the dialogue would be good. And then I take the feedback that they give me and I try to make it better each time. So it's taken several years for me to get it where it is today.
So I also feel as well, Gloria, I don't know if you thought about it, but maybe turning it into a book as well.
Yes. And that's one
thing. Because I'm seeing the book as well as a movie. I see it going into two, you know, and I think the world is definitely ready for it, most definitely. And I think you would do an amazing job turning it into a book. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I appreciate that. And anyone out there in the publishing world, keep that in mind. And, you know, please, gbrown.marshall@gmail.com is my email in case you want to contact me about making Sergeant Freeman into a book. Thank you for that suggestion.
Well, I might be able to help you out there, actually, Gloria, because my friend, Liz Presley, Elvis's daughter, she's got her own publishing company, L&L. And she's also an author, and she's written a book, Kid of the King, and she's also supporting other authors, obviously putting their books into publication. So I'll have a chat with Liz and see if Liz can actually help you out. How about that?
That would be fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to help. Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to just ask Ruth as well, bless you, about your book, because yours is also an interesting storyline called No Biscuits in Heaven. And I really love that title too, because I'm very much a spiritual person myself. So please, Ruth, tell our viewers a little bit about your storyline and what inspired you to write your book, or about the naughty little boy who gets told off by God, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ruth. Can you hear me, Ruth?
I can.
Hi, Ruth.
And let me say,
can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Ruth? We'd love to hear all about No Biscuits in Heaven and what inspired you to write the actual actions.
Of course, if you can hear me. Well, actually, it was when COVID first started, and our ecumenical church, we couldn't go anymore.
Yes, I can hear you.
They tried to think of things online. Yes. So the minister said to me, could you write us a radio play, which we can put online, about an angel visiting our church? So I said, yes. So I spent about a week and I wrote a radio play. I'd never done a radio play before. It's a different technique from screenplay because the person everything has to be spoken and you have to hear everything and the footsteps and so on. Well, I did it and I sent it and it sank without trace. So I thought, well, I do have my own publishing firm. I would do it as a story. And that meant changing it around yet again. More description. So I did publish it and I called it No Biscuits in Heaven. And the reason it's No Biscuits in Heaven, I don't know if I should let you know the final bit, is that...
I love that title.
Yeah, well, it's because, and it's actually now the part...
Oh, yes, please.
in the middle of being produced in Nigeria. Well, anyway, the little boy, the little angel, they were all working in heaven. And he, naughty, swung on a tree. And either it broke or he fell down right in the middle of God's favorite flowers, the orchids, and he squashed them. Oh, so God came and said, what have you done? And the little angel felt awful. And God, he didn't realize that God was laughing because he liked his mischief and would forgive him. He said, I suppose I have to go on earth to be banished. So God thought he'd play along and said, well, if you find 7 times 70 good deeds on earth, but everything's awful there, and then you see all the terrible things that are going on, fighting. Well, the little angel trusts him, bargains him down to 7 times 7 good deeds, and he flutters down, bang, and he's a bit perturbed that he's not wearing his right clothes because the jeans have got holes in. Then he realizes that's good. So he goes through earth, and we've already shot that bit. I mean, you'll say it's a fantasy and genre, but actually it's about real life, because he meets, it's a commentary really, a kind of everyman commentary. He meets kind people and not so kind people, some horrible people. In fact, we've done a 5-minute clip, which we haven't put on the table read, and which hopefully Pear Tree Village will find some room to put on, because the director in Nigeria can send it out. It's very horrific, it's gruesome, but the little angel had to face the bad side, the worst side, as well as the best side, which was music, which soothed the human heart. Well, anyway, he goes through all this, and he gets more and more frightened, and the clock keeps striking, and he knows he's got to get it done or he'll never get back, or so he thinks. And finally, he meets this wonderful street singer.
Yes.
Who's actually a Nigerian celebrity, is known to have a voice of an angel. And he has. I do hope you can be able to hear this little clip sometime. And he gets to the church where George, the singer, is the choir master. And he's very reluctant. I'm not really a church kind of person. But they persuade him in. And he suddenly finds he's singing with all the rest of them. Little donkey with a heavy load. Oh, such a heavy load, he says. But he's really keen. Then they take him along to have tea and biscuits, which are his absolute passion, because they don't have them in heaven. Crunch. Can you hear? And somebody spills the tea and then they wipe it up. And he realizes that they are all imperfect. We're nearly at the end of one. All imperfect, just like him. And so he says,
no,
they
don't.
Oh God, would you mind very, very much if I stayed here? Because I'm imperfect, just like them. And then this is a crucial saying, I want to become a man and dwell among them.
Oh,
I'm sure you've picked that up. And then 30 years later,
oh, bless her.
We see him back.
Yes, I did.
Older, and he looks at the orchids and he touches them with love.
So he did change. He changed his ways and became a better person.
And we realise, of course, that he is, well, you know, he is Christ.
Oh, it sounds so beautiful.
And then this is the key bit at the end.
I can't wait to see it turn into a movie.
God and Mary, his wife, sit together, but they're very loved and happily. And Mary sneaks out.
Does he become a little angel himself then, Ruth, in the end? After he changes his ways and the acts of kindness, does he become a little angel himself?
What happened? And then she sneaks.
Unfortunately, we're having a few problems with Ruth's internet. So sorry, everybody.
Biscuits out of her robe, and she holds it out to God. She says, just one. Yes. So he takes one, crunch. And then the final caption is, no biscuits in heaven? ? So there you are. I've turned it into a table read as well, which of course was it. All these different genres I've learned.
So you got a biscuit.
Yes. So no biscuits in heaven? Well, let's see. We'll have to get there to find.
It sounds a real endearing movie.
So I do hope there'll be a chance to show that clip, because it shows the really horrific, gruesome one.
I love it. Such a beautiful story.
Saves us all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruth.
Gloria, I loved what you said. And do you know, I must have known what you were going to say.
Much from the storyline.
Last night,
it's all about positive change and acts of kindness as well, Ruth, isn't it? You know, we can all be the change we want to be, but it's all about kindness all the way, isn't it? Like you say.
Well, my name means compassion, Ruth, compassion. And whether it's that my parents spotted that that's who I was, or whether I'm influenced by my name, it could be both. I think compassion is really the most important thing. That and gentleness in the world. Poor little angel, he was so frightened and cold. I mean, what would you think if we went into a different world you thought was going to be horrible?
You're both an inspiration to the world and amazing screenplay writers, action screenplay writers. It's all about.
I love writing. I've mainly been an academic writer, an anthropologist, and then 10 years ago, I had what I think was a mini stroke on my left side, which meant that my right imagination, music side, integrating side.
It's so true, isn't it, Ruth? We need more compassion and love and peace in this world to bring about more understanding and positive changes.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about it, because actually it's very...
So how long have you been writing for, Ruth? How many years have you been writing for, please?
Well, my age is 87, or is it 86? I'm not sure. 87, I think. And I've been married 58 years to my lovely husband. And I started writing, I suppose, when I was a child.
Bless you, Ruth.
And then I became an academic writer. My mother made sure that I didn't write jargon, academic, horrible stuff. So one of the quite famous things about me as an anthropologist is that people can read my work and understand it.
Sorry, Ruth. I think your internet's playing up because you keep distorting. Sometimes we can hear you, and sometimes we can't. Sorry.
Never mind. But anyway, now in the last 10 years, I've been writing.
I think it's the internet that's playing up.
It's so easy.
I think it's your internet that's playing up. Bless you.
Well, I'll leave it to you now.
Oh, bless you. You don't look 86. Have you? Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited about having a table read. I mean, it's quite hard to decide what to put in and what not to. Again, a different mode of writing. I'm learning so much. I love writing, but I'm also one of my academic interests.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Bless you.
Yeah.
Now, James and also Len. Thank you.
Len, hey, Deb, Len told me that he texted me and said his signal kept dropping. Can you hear me?
Is Len had to shoot on, is he? Because he's busy.
Yeah, he said his signal kept dropping. So he said he was trying to get back in, but he might have to sit out.
Maybe we need to say au revoir.
Oh, bless him. Well, hopefully you try and join us again a little bit later on in the show, James, because I think the signal's with Ruth as well at the moment, bless her.
How am I coming in?
But we'll meet at the event. I think
James, now I'd like to talk a bit more about the film festival, and also when people want to enter, say for instance, their short movie, their music videos, or their screenplays, what is the actual process, and is there like a payment they've got to, sort of pay in order to upload it and actually enter? Please, can you explain the actual sort of procedure of it, please?
Yes. The process is you submit. There is a fee that you are charged based on what you're submitting, whether it's a short, a doc, a screenplay, so forth and so on. And we go through a process where we have our deliberators, our team. They sit down, they look through it, and sometimes if you're friends of the festival owners, you get in. And sometimes some people have to go through the regular process. Just being honest, nepotism, just being honest. But that's the process, pretty much that. And you pay a certain dollar amount and you submit your works. Like this year, I think we have over 100 films.
So what's the process of? Wow, that's an awful lot, isn't it? That's amazing. So how many film festivals do you tend to do per year? Or is it just one film festival a year that you do, James?
Well, we do our big annual situation once a year, normally in fall. And then we have spin-offs throughout the year where we do smaller events and just like leading up to the large film festival. Because, Lynn has his whole nother side of the world. I have my whole other side of the world. And we come together for the film festival and for film festival business.
So you're both very, very busy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, also, on the very first, launch of it, it is actually free, isn't it? And you did mention earlier that people can actually watch it online, which I think is fantastic. So everyone can sort of join in the ambience of the actual film festival.
Correct. Initially, the initial Thursday night screener is free. And then if you want passes to like the workshops, the panels, things of that nature, the award show, those things have a cost associated.
Okay. So please tell us a little bit about the awards, because I did notice when I was like looking online that you have got, you know, sort of like Rising Star Awards, and you've got, you know, different categories for the awards. So please, can you tell our viewers a little bit more about the award side of it as well, please?
Yeah, the award side is pretty awesome. We get a chance to give actors and actresses and directors and producers and writers awards that, you know, some people just, they go so hard for so long and they never get awarded. So we always felt like philanthropists when it came down to this section, this division of our festival. And we honor people like, in the past, there's a young lady named Notori Norton. Notori, we gave her the Rising Star Award. I forgot the year, but Notori went on to play in a TV show called Power on Stars. And it was a huge hit TV show. And we awarded her. We gave her the Rising Star Award. The next year, she got booked on Power. That same year, we had her with the Rising Star Award. We had a gentleman named Amari Hardwick as our ambassador. And then that next year, Amari got booked as the husband on Power. And he was Ghost. And his wife on Power was Notori Norton, who the same year we gave her the Rising Star Award. And it was just like kismet. Like, we didn't know, nobody knew they would come together and be the husband and wife team on this hit TV show the next year, you know? So that was amazing to us. And then this year we'll give a gentleman named John Chafin. He's a young actor out of, I think John is from Long Island, New York, but lives in LA. Yes. And John is currently, he's played on the Have and the Have-Nots, the Tyler Perry series. And he's also right now currently on a series called BMF, which stands for Black Mafia Family. It was a notorious drug ring going on out of Detroit, and it expanded into multiple states in the United States. But John Chafin currently is going to be playing the lead role in that. So this year he'll get the Rising Star Award. And then we have Reuben Cannon, casting director, the great Reuben Cannon from Tyler Perry's World and everything else. He'll get the Legendary Award. Cedric the Entertainer, he'll get the I think it's the Barrier Breaker Award, and so forth and so on. It's just a beautiful situation where we can give out these awards to people that deserve them, that don't necessarily get honored, you know, from other festivals or award shows, you know. So we feel good about it.
I think that's wonderful. Very good, and maybe the lovely Gloria might get an award. What do you think? I think Gloria deserves maybe an award for her amazing screenplay. What do you think, Gloria? I'm making her blush now, bless her. Now, Gloria, is this the first time that you've actually entered Peachtree Village International Film Festival with James and Len? Is it the first time?
This is my first time. Yeah, this is my first time entering Peachtree Village International Film Festival. As I said, I've got two short films that I'm a playwright. I began my life as a playwright.
Can you hear me, Gloria? I can't hear you, sorry.
Yes. So I think James can hear me, but yes. So yeah. So I don't know this. I can think the transmission is having some delay. Are you getting some of it now? So what I was saying is that this is my first time entering this film festival. I have two short films that have been entered in other festivals. What I try to do as a playwright is to infuse social justice.
Yes, James, can you hear Gloria?
Yes. So what I've gained being a social justice advocate, I try to put in my plays and in my screenplays, in my books. This is one of my books that I've written. I've written 4 books. And because for me, having...
Yes, I am now. I think it's just a few delays.
Yes. So for me, it's more than just being able to have a good life, whatever that means. I mean, if people aren't living well, if people are being treated poorly, people don't, they don't know what degree you have or where you're living or anything. When things happen, they happen so quickly in this country and other countries around the world. I want to empower people. I want them to be inspired. I want them to keep pushing forward and not let what happens in life stop them, because that's the whole point, is for people to be stopped and not have their dreams come true. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I want to do with my writing. Whatever I use, poetry or books, or especially the screenplay, and having James and Lynn give me this opportunity is so important on 3 levels. One is they didn't put me in a box. They just read my work. And sometimes that's what happens. People get put in a box and they don't see. He talked about being in one area and then moving into a next. There are a lot of people who don't want you to move out of a box once you're in something. They see you a certain way and that's all they want. And that is something that is so wrong, the gatekeepers in the world. So I'm glad that he's giving people a voice and a platform for them to be able to show their creativity, their work, and their contributions.
Thanks, Gloria. I like your screenplay, by the way.
Thank you so much. And I hope that, one of the things about Peachtree as well, some film festivals just let you put the work in and, you can be selected.
Most definitely. They do amazing work, James and Len. I mean, I've known Len now a few years and interviewed him once before as well. And it's the first time I actually interviewed James.
Yeah, they actually make connections for you. And I think that's also important, that you don't just get selected, but the fact that I'm looking at him right now, that I'm on here to talk to him, that he actually sees who I am as a person.
So James, how do you know when people actually enter, what is he sort of like?
You was breaking up, Deborah.
No.
You were breaking up, Deborah.
Oh, bless you. Is this the first time that you guys have met?
Yes.
Gloria, is this the first time that you and James have actually met on the show tonight?
Yes. This is the first time we've met.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you hear me? Sorry. Yes, it is. Oh, it's wonderful, because this is what the show's about, bringing people together. Oh, bless you. So what did you think of Gloria's amazing script then, James? Did you read all of it all the way through?
No, I didn't. But I like the way she.
Could you hear me? Sorry.
I said, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. What did you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to hear you.
Okay, cool. I said, no, I didn't.
Yes, can
read
hear
it all
you.
the way through. No, I did not read it all the way through. I rarely read everybody's scripts all the way through. It's a ton of work. However, I take notes and I listen to my people that do read. But I like having this interview because I get to hear her conviction. Very important. Very important. And that alone would make me want to. That alone would make me want to read.
So important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to be honest. You got to be honest in life.
Yes. And like you say, it's wonderful. It's all about honesty, isn't it? And it's wonderful to have Gloria on the show and explaining, the storyline and what guided Gloria down to write about that storyline, to bring positive change to this world. But it's all about, bringing justice as well to the world and, stopping that sort of divide with racism and realizing that we've got to stop fighting and start supporting one another in order to bring positive change to this world. And it's all about togetherness now, and peace is the answer. And I think with the amazing work that Gloria does, she is working towards that peace process within her community and where she lives, but also leading a very good example about the positive changes that do need to take place as well through her storyline.
Yeah. Yes, and to be honest with you, there's a reason why she's on this show right now with you and me. there's a reason.
Yes, there is a reason.
And
there certainly is.
And even in the screenplay, even though these, you know, domestic terrorists are there are people in the town who try to help Sergeant Freeman and try to free the daughter. There's somebody within the domestic terrorist organization who's very confused, and he's actually being kind to the daughter. So that's the thing that we need to understand. There have always been people who have crossed the line and said, this is not the way I want to live. And there are people who are born into certain situations who are questioning what they've been taught. And so this whole idea that we're always growing, there's always this movement, and it goes back to something Ruth was saying when she was here, and that is that we're imperfect beings. And as imperfect beings, we're always going to be doing things that are messed up, and we're always going to be doing things that are kind and generous, and trying to figure out how we can be our best selves in difficult situations is what I write about. I'm always writing about in my work, whether or not it's a book or my screenplay or anything I'm working on, is I'm working on how do we get over obstacles and still be good people? Or as they used to say, how do you walk upright on a crooked road? And that's what I have an older friend used to say all the time. You got to learn to walk upright on a crooked road. And so
that's a real good saying.
Yes.
And I think that's wonderful. And you do amazing work, and so does James as well. You know, I mean, how can we change this world if we don't sort of shine our lights to bring the positive changes? And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about shining our lights to bring positive changes and lead a positive example and a way forwards to bring positive change. And that's what you do, James, and Len do as well. You know, with Peachtree Village International Film Festival, you give people that platform to share their stories to the world, and also empower them, you know, to continue shining bright. And so many people in this world are frightened to voice their opinions, you know, because they're scared of not being heard or scared of being judged. But how do you know until you actually try? How are you going to awaken others if you don't try? And this is what it's about now. It's time for change in this world. We do need to change things. You know, I'm just really excited all about the film festival, to be honest. And I wish that we was able to come over to watch it, but we're going to definitely watch it online, aren't we?
Definitely online, yeah, definitely.
Which is exciting. So have you ever done any acting then, James, on the film set?
Not really. I did a movie. I executive produced a film.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
There's just a delay, I think, for them.
Yes, I think so.
So I executive produced a film in 2007 called
Yes, I can hear you. It's just a little bit of a time delay.
Okay. And I did a little bit of spot acting in it in 2007, Jury of Our Peers. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a movie I did. But it was just like a cameo, a couple of cameos, nothing big. I'm not the actor. I'm more of the, like I'm a visionary. I'm more of a, I actually feel like I'm a director deep inside because I vibe with talent. I vibe with talent very well. People, for some reason, I understand them, they understand me, and direction gets to, it flows well. It seems that there's some good alignment there. So who knows? Maybe one day I'll, start directing. But besides producing, executive producing, and I compose. I'm a composer. I score. So stuff like that. But I'm not too much the actor.
No. So have you written any music recently then, James, about, social conscious music and positive change to this world? Or have you got any plans to write any more music?
I haven't written any pieces with words. Mostly what I'm doing now is scoring and composing sound for films, TV, commercial, and video games. I haven't really taken the pen out and got into the whole social platform at all. I just haven't done that part, but I do a lot of other things, so it kind of makes sense.
No.
But a musician, you will never.
It sounds like you're multi-talented and very, very busy.
Busy guy.
It's good to be busy. My life's very busy.
Yeah,
I like being busy. Lovely to have you back, Ruth. You certainly have. Blessed. All of you have been blessed. You certainly have. Definitely. So what happens now with the film festival? And I know both you, Ruth and Gloria, you're both, you know, to the finalists. So what happens now? Do you just have like one winner, or do you have like 3 winners? What's the actual process of the winning? So I did read that the winner actually wins £50,000. Is that correct? Cash prize for the feature-length films, shorts, music videos, $50,000. And then obviously you've got the films, which is 20 plus film screenings. And so tell us a little bit more about that and the actual process, please, James.
Well, basically we have the winnings. We have multiple partnerships with multiple studios, whether it's editing, whether it's yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, great. So we have multiple relationships.
So what happens that they all sort of donate a certain amount of money to 50,000?
Yeah, I was trying to explain it. We have multiple relationships within our village, and so to speak, our village, and we have editor suites, production facilities, things of that nature. So we'll say, hey, you want $50,000 in cash, and we're going to move that over here to this editing suite for you to finish your film. Things of that nature. We don't just give someone $50,000 in $20 bills. You know, we have to make it make sense, because we can't squander our blessings, you know, and sometimes you have to hold their hand to help them even farther, if that makes any sense.
And it must be so hard, actually, you know, I mean, just hearing the 2 storylines with both Gloria and Ruth to actually pick that one finalist. I mean, I wouldn't like to, because, you know, I'd like want them all to be winners myself personally, because, I think they're all doing an amazing job. And it must be so hard for you.
Difficult decisions.
So how do you sort of get to that? You know, everyone wants to win and, you know, get their movie done. So how do you do that? It must be really hard for you.
This is how it is, right? They're both winners already. Yes. Okay, they're both winners already. Winners. Now, right? So someone like I like both genres. I like the fantasy, which I kind of think that's fantasy. Yes. A little bit of mysticism. I love that, and then I love the social justice and the action. So if I'm talking to a distributor at Walt Disney and I say, hey man, I got an action script that's pretty hot, but man, I got a fantasy film that I like too. Both came through the film festival. There's 2 different genres. There's 2 different flows of capital.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say, look at them both. So because they don't step on each other's toes. They don't step on each other's toes.
No.
They're 2 different genres. Now, if it was 2 action movies, I'd be like, oh man. If it was 2, you know, fantasy movies, I'd be like, oh man, but it's not. It's totally different.
It certainly is. And also being a true believer in fate, again, like we were saying, synchronicity and law of attraction, I think that both of their scripts are going to be turned into movies, because I think they're both amazing. And would, you know, appeal to the public as well. And I think the universe is going to grant your wishes, myself personally.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're both awesome. And I love both your storylines. And I think James is awesome and you're doing amazing work. And same as Len as well. And I think it is just fantastic, isn't it, Tom? Yeah, have you got any questions you'd like to ask?
Have I got any questions I'd like to ask? I've got loads.
Put Tom on the spot now.
I've got loads of things here. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, how did you... I'll ask one, Gloria. How did you get into putting yourself forward for the festival? Is it something you saw online, or how did you find out about it, that it was something that you could actually put forward content to? How did that come about?
Well, there are 10,000 film festivals online, 10,000 all around the world. Yes, as Ruth knows. And so when you're going through 10,000 film festivals, and so they're competing against each other to get the attention of people to submit films and screenplays. Right. And at the same time, we're out here trying to figure out which ones are the best for the screenplay or the film that we have. And so what I liked about Peachtree is that in its description, it said it helped people go to the next level. Because so often your first time around, you're just glad to be in it. You know, it's like, oh, wow, I'm in it. You know, oh, they selected me. Oh, that's great. It's like, so what happens now? Nothing. It's like, that's nice. They send you a laurel, you put it, it's like, and it's done. But this one said, no, we're actually going to support you. We're going to, I mean, it means something to have somebody actually say, I want to hear you. You have a voice. I want your voice to be out in the marketplace. We are going to actually help you get your voice in the marketplace. That is something that they say in particular, and they have a track record for doing it. Where you can read the other film festivals, they don't even say it. They're just like, okay, we'll select you or we don't select you. Your money goes into the pot. You never see it again. And that's it. So I think with Peachtree, for me, this has all been an investment. They're investing in me. I feel like, anyway. I mean, I could be delusional, but I feel like it.
I have actually been recommending Peachtree to all of my movie directors and producers to actually, you know, send their short movies, and some of them I've been in as well. So they're going to be contacting you, James and Len, you know, to submit theirs, which is wonderful. So how do you feel, Ruth, about, you know, obviously Peachtree and the wonderful opportunity that you've been given as well, please?
Like Gloria, I've entered maybe not thousands, but hundreds of festivals, and I've won quite a lot of prizes about, well, you know, selection and so on, and some quite high ones. But honestly, what you get is a pretty picture of a laurel. This is the only one I've ever had when it's got a worthwhile prize. But Gloria, I really appreciated all your very good reasons for choosing this festival. But to be honest, for me, it was just, I liked the name. And I thought the picture of a peach was just lovely. And so I entered.
It is lovely. I love the picture. It's all peachy, isn't it? I love it. It's all peachy, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
You got any questions?
Well, I like the colour of the peach as well. I've never actually seen a peach exactly that colour, but it's some it's a mystical colour and it's wonderful.
It is actually. If I like that, it's a mystical.
Magical peach.
Yeah, Georgia peach. See, that's the thing. Georgia is known as the peach state, and so that's where the peach comes from.
Oh wow! I never knew that.
There
Gloria.
you go.
Thank you.
Didn't know that one.
No, I never knew that either. But no, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, there's a very famous road in Georgia, Peachtree Road, Peachtree Street. So Peachtree is like a very popular name in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia specifically.
Yeah. And I had never known, but someone just told me who'd been in Atlanta, that Peachtree Street or Road was the place to live after the Civil War. And the upper class were always there. So if you say, I live in Peachtree Street, so then lots of little streets and enclaves and so on will call themselves Peachtree. So maybe that's what Peachtree Film Festival is trying to do, to be very popular.
Yeah, we started as the Sweet Auburn International Film Festival. That's what our name initially was. And Auburn Avenue is a very popular road, avenue, street in Atlanta for civil rights. So Dr. King's house was over there, Ebenezer Baptist Church, you know, for all the big civil rights pushers. The Southern Leadership Christian Council, they were located on Auburn Avenue. It's just amazing. And then we morphed into the Peachtree Village International Film Festival 2 or 3 years later. But we started as the Sweet Auburn International Film Festival on Auburn Avenue, which was like a lot of history behind Auburn Avenue. So, and then we morphed into
But there's also something that the people, LA has, I live in New York. That's where I am right now. And
I love New York. I've been there 3 times. It's awesome.
Yeah. So you have New York and you have LA, but Atlanta has become a powerhouse in the music industry, in the film industry. So that's another, it's like Atlanta has become very powerful. And so that's another reason why it's great to have this Peachtree Village connection. And I like the idea of the village, because that means that it's not just one person by themselves, it's a village together. So that was a great part of it too.
Oh, and again, village, it reminds you of community spirit and togetherness, like you say.
Community,
doesn't it? And I think it's a perfect name, personally, don't you, Peachtree?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the giant peach looks peachy. That's what I mean. It looks peachy, doesn't it? It looks lovely.
It's right in the centre.
Yeah. It certainly is. So, what are all of your plans for the future? Let's start with you, James. What are your plans? You know, for say for instance next year. What are your plans for the next year? In respect to, you know, setting goals. Say for instance.
Currently, stay alive, God willing. Stay healthy as I can. That way I can help others and help myself, of course. Help myself first, and I'm gonna help others, just to be honest.
Yes.
Then make some great relationships and help, people with their vision and their dreams. And the more I feel like I help others win, the more I win in that, inadvertently, whatever the word is. I want to make some more money. So I could do more things, because money is a really important resource, like relationships. So I just kind of tell it how I know it is out here. When you're being a creator, you have to have resources. You
need abundance for it.
Yeah. Stay humble, and just have dignity with my humility, and just keep it going.
Oh, I think they're fantastic plans, and keep shining bright. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Gloria, what are your goals for the next year? Have you got a specific goal that you would like to work towards? Maybe, obviously, I think the first one might be turning this into a movie. Is that your first goal?
Yes, turning this into a film, getting an Oscar for it.
Yes.
It's like, that's what I want.
Anything's possible. Trust nothing.
Yes, it's a possibility. I'm putting it out in the universe. I want to continue writing my books and plays, and I just have things in me that I want to write about. I want to continue to do. I don't look at one thing as being better than another. I look at all of it as being blessed and having the health to turn them from vision to victory. Yes. And that's what I like, from vision to victory. So that's what I'm working on, turning my visions into victories, and stay prayerfully, helpful, and prayerfully on the path of being a servant who's here to try to put what's been placed on my heart and mind into the world as best I can. But I like what James said, and maintaining your dignity and sense of self the entire time. But to walk straight on a crooked road.
Well, I'm sure that you will achieve all of your hopes and your dreams, and I've no doubt that you're not going to achieve it, because I think you will.
Thank you, and thank you for whoever can help me take my screenplay and make it into a book.
Yes, I will have a chat with Liz for you with that. No worries, and also about Ruth as well. Thank you, Ruth. So, what is your goal for the next year? The same as Gloria, to turn obviously this into another movie, because they're both going to be two amazing movies. Would you like to turn it into a book as well, maybe?
Yes, like Gloria.
Yes,
books and movies, but also, when you get old, you go back to your young days.
Yes,
and
you
my
do.
parents, especially my father, who was a pacifist in the Second World War, and they lived in murderous Derry in Northern Ireland, where people were killing each other for religious reasons.
Oh, bless them.
They were wonderful leaders in reconciliation across the divide. And I want my books and my movies to help with that, to recognize that we're imperfect. Even, I know this isn't good theology, even Christ was imperfect, which is a real inspiration for us. So I want to continue with my academic books, which I've rather let lapse, and helping other people, very much helping other people, by editing a series called Hearing Others' Voices, which is for young people, to show that there are many lives outside their syllabuses and their single careers. Lots of things. You could look it up, Hearing Others' Voices. It's a really nice series published by Balestier Press in Singapore and London. That's a reconciliation in itself. But there are two screenplays, if there's time to say, that I'd really like to do. And I've started thinking, the dreams are coming. It's very much dreams. My first degree was in classics, and I think very much about that. So I would like to do one called Orpheus with His Lyre, which is a quotation from Shakespeare. Shakespeare's so important to me, and Rumi. All my books have, because a lot of the screenplays began as books, have a Shakespeare sonnet and a Rumi quotation at the beginning. And then it inspires the whole thing. And my movies are all based on books, some by me, some by others. So the first one I want to do, and
that's wonderful,
is called Orpheus with His Lyre. And you know, Orpheus got his wife back from the underworld, then he turned too soon and she had to go back. I want to give a different twist on that, but I won't tell you yet. But it's very much inspired by Gluck's Dance of the Blessed Spirit, which you may know, musicians, which is beautiful. And the first book I read in translation, a very kind of 19th century biblical translation, at the age of 7, which now amazes me. The first serious book I ever read was the Odyssey. And I want to write a screenplay called Odysseus. And I sometimes get somebody to do an outline for me, what do you call it, a kind of statement thing, but it was going to cost £4,000 and I couldn't afford that. So I thought, actually, I could do it better. So those are the two things I want to do next year.
Wow.
And whether it'll take a long time or a little time depends on the dreams, because the first novel I wrote took 7 weeks, a chapter a night, and then that was 49 chapters, and I thought, well, there should be 50, but then I realized it was already there, I just hadn't noticed it.
Oh,
so
bless
it may be quite quick, but it may not.
Oh, well, anything's possible if you set your mind to it. And I'm sure that you will do, Ruth, as well.
Definitely.
And we're just so grateful to have all of you on the show. Unfortunately, we've run out of time now.
Thank you, guys,
as well.
so
But thank you so much for each and every one of you coming on the show. And congratulations. Well done. Keep shining bright and keep in touch as well. You can get my details from Len. I'm on Facebook, and I'll have a chat with Liz about both of you and your books. And stay in touch as well, James, because I'd like to link you up with Skylar. Friend request me on Facebook. That'd be really lovely as well.
Thank you all so much.
Stuff, right?
Especially nice to meet you, Gloria.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, James.
So just a little happy ending for me. After this call, I have a call with my distributor buddy at Walt Disney, and I will be mentioning both of these movies, both of these screenplays.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, bless you.
There you go.
Oh, thank you so much, James. You are a little angel. See?
Thank you so much.
You are a little angel. Thank you so much, James. And I say keep in touch as well and keep shining bright, bless you. And thank all of you. You're doing an amazing job and so proud of all of you. Thank you so much. And good luck with the film festival as well.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thanks, Tom.
Take care.
Ruth.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Arrivederci.
Bye. Thank you.